Good morning. It's August the 21st, and welcome to SOCI 6315, Sociological Research Practice 1, Qualitative Methods. My name is Steve Blanchard, and I am the instructor in the course, and I look forward to working with you this fall. We will actually be working together for 2 semesters, this fall in Qualitative Methods and in the spring in Quantitative Methods. The 2 courses together are considered a set, and in the overall sort of umbrella topic of mixed methods. You'll see from one of the texts that we have this fall, like Creswell and Clark, it is about mixed methods, and that will be the text that we'll also use in the spring. What we do this fall, we'll want to do it in a way that we can conceptualize it and explore it at length in the quantitative course in the spring, but we'll talk much more detail about that about halfway through the semester. Let's talk about the importance of qualitative methods before we get into the content of the syllabus. Qualitative methods in sociology and social sciences in general is important largely because the phenomena of interest to us are invisible. Friendship, love, neighborhoods, we have a sense of what they are. But we recognize their presence by indicators of their presence. They're not as readily available to our sensory apparatus as are the physical object of a tree. Some might say that we have a disadvantage as social scientists and sociologists relative to physical scientists. I think it's more of an advantage. But physical scientists have available to their sensory apparatus, whether they use a telescope or a microscope or the human eye, to take a look at objects as vast as galaxies or frogs at our level of reality or quarks. We don't have that sort of opportunity. So the advantage, I think, for us is that it requires a deliberate exploration, a moment of concentration, a bracketing, a stepping back, and looking at the phenomenon of interest, and that's what the Transcendental Phenomenology is all about. You'll hear about that next week, and there's some mention of it here in the syllabus and in that Plato site that's at the Stanford University that's on the front page of the syllabus. Link to that, and I'll talk more about it next week after you've had a chance to take a look at that in the first chapter of Moustakis. So what we're doing here is the semester will be how to bring social phenomenon present to us. Step back, take a look at them, understand the indicators of their presence, be able to conceptualize them. And for example, friendship, something that would be distinguishing the indicators of presence of friendship from the indicators of presence of an acquaintance. We know an acquaintance and we know a friend. But what are those indicators that allow us to distinguish that difference between the two? That's where we're going to go this semester. That's important just for that reason alone, but it's also important because it will give us a certain sensitivity in our relationship to the other. And the other in this case is important in qualitative research. If we're sitting in a focus group or we're doing a key informant interview, methods that we'll talk about later in the semester, or we're in a neighborhood where we want to explore, say, the status, shall we say, of mental health in the neighborhood, we don't want to go into the neighborhood with our own idea already, with some preconception, shall we say, even a bias of what we think that's all about in that neighborhood. We want to go with our eyes and ears open to listen to what Moustakis would say are our co-researchers, who are the neighborhood residents themselves. So the methods will not only give us a way of describing, perhaps interpreting phenomenon, but it'll create a sensitivity of openness of us to others to listen to their voice. That's really what we're after this fall, and we'll talk a lot about this. Let's take a look at the syllabus here for a moment. I told you my name. You can see the telephone number there. My practice is, and this is the way it is, anytime between 5 in the morning and 9 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. If you call me on that my office telephone number or you email me, I guarantee you I will be back to you within 2 hours. Between 5 in the morning and 9 at night, 7 days a week. So I'm available to you. You see some office hours there. A number of you are not in San Antonio, so that's not so good for you unless you're going to drive over here, which I doubt that you will. But or in the valley. Some of you are in the valley. I think, but just know that I'm available within 2 hours of a phone call or an email, and I will call you back. If you call me and you want me to call you, I will call you back. Okay, so you can see as you go, you see the course overview. When you take a look at the syllabus, you can see the bulletin description there. The student learning outcomes are important. They are outcomes that I would like to see you accomplish, and I hope that the practices that we do and the discussions and that sort of thing where we're all involved will enable you to accomplish those outcomes. One of them that is important to us is the sociological imagination. And really what that is that imagining ourselves in the as individuals in a context. That's a sociological perspective. How does social context influence human behavior? So the sociological imagination is to imagine how is our own personal narrative or evolution as a human being and an individual a reflection of context that we pass through, family, friendship, school, whatever those might be. And then the other overall outcome is the practice and application of ideas and approaches, such as this course, the qualitative methods. And you'll see the specific student outcomes. You'll understand the principal theoretical perspectives in the background of the qualitative and quantitative methods and sociology in general. The distinguishing human phenomenon from within the qualitative perspective, social phenomena, how to identify them and bring them to the forefront, to examine them, make them as objective, as an object as we can, so that we can examine them. And you'll have good proficiency by the end of the semester in qualitative methods. One thing that's very important, this is a graduate class, and traditionally graduate classes have been about seminars, sitting around a seminar table, the several of us, and having a debate, an argument, a conversation about a topic at hand, face-to-face, body heat, eye-to-eye. We don't have that opportunity in an online setting. But I would like for you to imagine, if you will, the phenomenon of the graduate seminar as constituted by discussion. So it's important, absolutely important, essential that you participate in discussion, because that is the creation of the phenomenon of this course. It's not in this, and it's not in the individual papers that you submit. The phenomenon of the course, from the qualitative methods, transcendental, and phenomenological approach, the phenomenon of the course is created through discussion. So it's important that you participate. I'll be up there. So please participate in discussion. You'll see on the syllabus that I have put a guide for you on the sorts of things I'll be looking for in terms of my own as instructor assessment of your participation in discussion. So it'll be a guide for you to as a rubric, if you will, as you go through discussion. It's not a heavy-handed approach. It's just some ideas about how I think I'd like to see this discussion constituted. The sorts of things that I would say if we were actually sitting physically around a seminar table, not a virtual one like we're going to create hopefully early on in the semester. You can see that there are 10 points out of 100 for your grade participation, so the participation in discussion does carry some weight. There are 4 practice assignments. One we'll be doing the next week or so, which is beginning to practice how to bring something to a phenomenon to the forefront. And then 3 basically phenomenological practice assignments for us to take a look at. These are ones, and practice, these are ones that you will incorporate into your project. And I think you're going to see that they are things that you do likely anyway. If you're in the social, if your interest is in social sciences and sociology, you're probably doing some of these anyway. Sociology sort of takes what we do in human interaction and moves it up, removes it once, and then steps back and looks at those processes. And they're caught in a more formal way in sociological texts. So I think a lot of this you're going to see is familiar. Attendance is regular participation, and you'll see how I have that defined in the attendance policy section. Certain number of times for each segment to be in discussion, and then you'll see the quality of your, under the rubric, the quality of your discussion. As we go on through here, as we move into the other part of the syllabus, you'll see a section on students with disabilities. If there's anything that you have in the way of a disability that would create a difficulty for you in managing this course, please let me know. Academic dishonesty, that's a pretty traditional piece for syllabus. That's not to diminish its significance in any way by saying it that way. It's just that it's important that what we're doing is of our own creation. But then on the other hand, discussion is about an exchange, and when you present your paper in segments, as you will, I want them posted. We'll be posting them in a way so everybody can participate and say, wow, that's a pretty cool idea. Or maybe you should consider tweaking it this way. I'd like this seminar phenomenon that we have to be interactive and engaging with one another. So study groups, conversations with another, and discussion and all are perfectly acceptable and are not considered in any way academically dishonest. One thing you want to be mindful of, and sometimes it's easy to overlook, and that is if you, when you're writing a paper, if you pull down a document or a portion of a document from the web, to cite it, just like you would if you were citing a paragraph out of a textbook. And there are methods for doing that, so be mindful of that, so that if you don't cite, it could be plagiarism, and it has happened in the past, and it's not intentional. Just be mindful of that. If you pull something out of a web somewhere, you have to cite it like you would if pulling it out of an article in front of you or a book. The reading and instructional materials, this is the one text. The other text I don't have with me because I loaned it to an undergraduate student, but I'll have it back soon. And that is the Criswell and Clark book. And the other reading that I'll post from time to time. There'll be process notes every week, in discussion every week, and every week I'll do a video, just like this YouTube video. You can see from the course calendar how the assignments are going to be laid out over the course of the semester. We're going to spend the first month or so on the perspective itself, getting comfortable with the Transcendental method, and then we're going to practice it through the middle of October. And then about the middle of October to the semester, we're going to work on a practice project for about 6 weeks. Well, that's pretty much it. I look forward to working with you this semester, and we're going to have a good time, I think. I think you're going to find if you're going to find this Transcendental methodology interesting and fun, really. So anyway, I'll welcome to the course, and I'll see you again through video, probably Wednesday or so, or Thursday next week. In a few minutes I'm going to post the first round of notes, and so there we are. Thanks a lot, and be seeing you.